Hi, welcome to My Mom Thinks I'm Cool. A week ago, my honey bunny and I co-hosted a rom-com movie trivia night. And while it was tons of fun and everyone got into the spirit of the trivia game, I was really surprised at some of the films that would have questions about them or we'd mention, and we would just see blank faces out in the audience because no one had seen or knew the movie. And some of these I was just like genuinely shocked at. I think these are either rom-coms that have been a little bit forgotten, maybe underseen in general, and underappreciated. So I thought I would share 5 of them here that you may want to check out for Valentine's Day or any time, some rom-coms that you may have missed. So first up is the 1999 film Blast from the Past that stars Brendan Fraser, Alicia Silverstone, Christopher Walken, and Sissy Spacek. This film's basic plot is there is a family of Christopher Walken and Sissy Spacek. They're married, and Sissy Spacek is quite pregnant. And it is 1962, and Christopher Walken's character is very concerned about the Cold War, so he built a bomb shelter in his backyard. Due to a malfunction of something that happens, Christopher Walken believes that a nuclear bomb is going off and takes Sissy Spacek and his unborn child and goes in the bunker. And they stay down there for 35 years or so. And it's around that point that they realize that they may be running out of supplies. So someone has to go up to the top to see if it's safe and to gather supplies. Brendan Fraser, now being an adult but only having grown up inside this bunker that was built in the early 60s, comes up and is greeted into the world of the 90s. And of course, hijinks and comedy ensue with Brendan Fraser's somewhat old-fashioned ideas and his positive attitude, but head-to-head with late 90s irony and pessimism. It's a fun film. I think it's one that perhaps at the time critics didn't really love and was sort of slept on, but it's really sweet. Brendan Fraser's wonderful in it, as is Sissy Spacek and Christopher Walken. So I definitely recommend checking out Blast from the Past if you haven't seen it already. The next film that I was really surprised that no one seemed to have seen who came to the rom-com trivia night was Baz Luhrmann's directorial debut and still his best film to date, Strictly Ballroom. Strictly Ballroom is from 1992, and it all focuses on a ballroom dance studio who's heading into a big competition, and their star dancer, he tends to dance outside the lines. He breaks the rules and he needs to find a new partner. All of this may sound familiar because a lot of films picked up on the tropes of Strictly Ballroom and then made their own takes of it. The film is just full of genuine heart. It has a wonderful Australian cast. I think it's still Baz Luhrmann's best film because it's very quirky but still grounded. Also part of it may be because Baz Luhrmann's mother was a ballroom dance instructor and he grew up in that environment and also learned ballroom dancing from his mom. And you can see all that within the film. It's such a fun film with bright colors, wonderful costumes, fun music, and dancing. I'm still really surprised that the people who came to this rom-com trivia didn't either remember the film or had never seen the film. So I wanted to be sure to mention it here. Maybe you've seen it but haven't seen it in a while and you may want to revisit it. It's a great Valentine's Day watch. Next up is the 1988 film Crossing Delancey. Now this has just seen a release from the Criterion Collection, so it may be getting some newfound love now. The film itself takes place in the late 80s in New York City. Some people really love the film because it captures that certain moment in New York and just the flavor of the city at the time. The film follows Amy Irving as a woman who works at a bookstore. She really loves her job, but you do sense that she's not really fulfilled totally, and her bubby decides to get a matchmaker for her, and she's just sort of embarrassed by the whole thing. She thinks it's old-fashioned, but through the matchmaker, she meets a pickle salesman who's played by Peter Reigert, and he is delightful in the movie. He's really what makes the movie to me, and I think that the film is really interesting as a rom-com because it plays a lot with the idea of tradition and ideas of what is modern and hip at the moment, and the way they clash and maybe misunderstand each other. And oftentimes a rom-com will have a lead that has to break free from tradition to truly find happiness. And this one has an interesting look and take on it. It also, again, I think from what I hear, really captures New York at that time well. And it has just a bit part of David Hyde Pierce, who everyone knows as Niles from Frasier, and it's always wonderful when you see him show up in a film. So you may want to check out Crossing Delancey. Next up is a film that I will admit hits its peak, its best moment right out of the gate when the movie starts, and that is the rom-com Music and Lyrics starring Hugh Grant and Drew Barrymore. If you've never seen it, the opening features a made-up 80s supergroup and their music video, and it is amazing, and the song is catchy. You will be singing it once the movie is over. I will admit it's one of those ones where it's Hugh Grant in his later rom-com period, where sometimes it feels like he's phoning it in a little bit, but sometimes he's trying. He's wonderful in the 80s music video and having fun, you can tell. Him and Drew Barrymore, I wouldn't say have the best on-screen chemistry, but it's still cute. It also features in a supporting role Kristen Johnston, who is criminally underused within the film and just in Hollywood in general. She has such great comedic timing and is always just bringing a lot of life to the screen when she's on it, so it's worth it to see her. There's also a bit of a look at teen pop stars, especially during that early aughts period, and sort of that over sexualization of them, which became quite a talking point recently. So it's interesting to see a film that's made more from that time that sort of looks at it, but still, it's still a light, fluffy rom-com. And even if you don't necessarily want to watch the whole movie, definitely check out the first few minutes of it where you get to see this great 80s music video. And last is the 1972 film What's Up, Doc?, directed by Peter Bogdanovich and starring Barbra Streisand and Ryan O'Neal. The film itself is Bogdanovich's ode, his love letter to 1930s screwball comedies. It definitely takes a lot from Bringing Up Baby, I'd say specifically. It's just a lot of fun, and it again, part of its strength is a wonderful supporting cast. I feel that rom-coms that truly get to the next level are ones that focus very well on the supporting characters and cast them very well. They don't just focus on the leads, and this is one that the supporting cast definitely helps elevate it. You have Madeline Kahn, she's hilarious in it. Barbra Streisand is just really charming within the film, and her and Ryan O'Neal have a fun way of playing off each other. I do I think the first half of the film better, where there's a lot more give and take within the dialogue, and then it turns truly zany at the end with a chase scene, but it's still all fun and lighthearted, and it really captures that screwball comedy vibe and puts it into the early 70s. So I definitely recommend it if you're looking for a rom-com that has more of a irreverent spin to it. So those were some rom-coms that have either been overlooked, underwatched, or maybe just sort of forgotten that you may want to check out for Valentine's Day or anytime you're looking for a little romance. Thanks so much for watching My Mom Thinks I'm Cool. Bye!